Yes, here popped up the impulse, Michael,
Uh,
to meet again. And
mm,
of course, I asked Sander Lientjen to join too because I love performing or simply be with him and talk and blah whatsoever. So he said, "Yeah, of course." And
well,
here we go. I guess I am very very happy for no reason. And
uh,
yeah, how are you? Michael, what's up there?
I that's I think like all of us, we never know how to answer that question.
Oh,
Um,
that. I know how to
it's
answer that question.
to you. I never know how I am, other than this sublime peace, that never seems to leave. Um, I guess that's how I am. I don't know. Excuse me, it's difficult to see who we are when we actually aren't. Um, I see personas as beautiful mental fabrications, even my grandchildren, and I love them dearly, but I see them not really as persons or as actual entities. I see them as coagulated memories, spinning galaxies of memories, self-referential memories, unique and beautiful and alone. Uh,
Is Michael is mental fabrications, yeah?
I suppose, yeah, as I think words are limited to a pseudo reality. They create and exist only in this imaginary realm of separation. And as close as we can come with words, I suppose that's as good as any. We'll never know our condition because we don't have one.
Yeah, Xander, sweetheart.
Well, I mean, seeing them as mental fabrication, right,
Mm,
Michael?
mm,
Well, that's basically a mental fabrication on itself. So there isn't anything besides, beneath, beyond mental fabrications, right? We can call this a mental fabrication, which again is just another mental fabrication
Yes.
falling like rain. I mean, there's no one behind the mental fabrication. Look, what a difficult word. Which again is just another mental fabrication, that there is someone or no one behind it, right? I mean, there's just no way to get it right or to get it wrong in the absence of a separated doer or knower, and even that is not known.
Mm-mm. No, nothing can be known really. We place names on things and think that they are actual, when no thing actually exists except in the naming of it. And
Michael, wait, sweetheart. I just want to say how I see it here. For example,
of
now
course, yes.
Michael and Xander, and this is just cool. Just, it's there is no story going on here with Michael and Xander. There is just quite fresh
Mm,
questions popping up, answers, talking. Um, there is it's simple. I don't know, it's very direct, it's very simple. Um, calling this a person, a man, a friend,
Mental
it's
fabrication.
mental fabrication. Yeah, it's very simple. There is no going into any there is no difference in
mm,
whatever. Yeah.
yes, yes, I see that. Uh, we are, whenever we incorporate language, um, I think I see what you're speaking about is this incredible simplicity upon which all these stories move around like oil on water. They move in colors and shift and blend, and all of that is appearance, but it's beautiful. I see three beautiful bodies with an accumulation of stories that spin around the idea of self. I watched Sander with his dogs. There's a whole world there that the freedom of going through the snow with dogs that are well trained and loved, slipping across the snow alone in the quiet. I grew up, I was talking to Sandra before, in Wyoming, very isolated ranch, 18 miles from town. And I remember the quiet, the snow. So beautiful. But those are memories, just memories. All we are is memories. All the person is swirling memories around an empty center. I find that incredibly beautiful. I think most people find it terrifying. And very few enter this vortex of knowing that nothing exists, including love. Some speakers talk about love is the only thing that's left, and I don't see that. I think that's just
Sweetheart,
another.
sweetheart, when I listen to you now, I really have the impression that I don't know really anything. I don't know a fuck.
No one ever has or ever will. Nothing to be known. There is this spontaneous tribal love, whatever it is. I think it's tribal. I think we spent the first million years in small tribes, and we were one thing, the fire starter and the bowl maker and the old people with their stories and the children, and that was one entity, one living, thriving, throbbing entity. And we've lost that. Our tribe is so big now that most people feel a terrible aloneness, a loneliness. And I think that is because we're missing the tribe. We get hints of that in people who speak our language, our non-duality. We get a feeling of compassion and love when we're talking to someone like this, who can experience what you're talking about, Rosa, the simplicity of it all, the naturalness of it, the easiness of it. Very few people experience that. And that's okay, apparently. And that's what's seen here. But I know I see nothing. I know nothing. And even that is an assumption of knowing something.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, saying you don't know something is basically just another knowing that you don't know anything. Memories swirling around an empty center. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's just swirling around. There's no one swirling,
No, just the swirling.
just the swirling. And when you say this loneliness, yeah, feeling lonely or the absence of those feelings or sensations are just equally innocently swirling around for no one.
Truly.
Loneliness, there's no one actually being lonely or being not lonely, and at the same time feeling lonely or not. It's just it's just swirling around without an empty center. around a nothing. Even nothing, I mean nothing, nothing. You know, anything can be objectified, you know. There's not a thing called nothing, or no thing called nothing.
Yeah, there's not a thing to be called nothing. We stop at the edge of language. That's where the persona ends. If we look around, we can't find anything without a name. There's everything in our world has a name. And that's us. We are the named place. Each unique and each alone in a world of self-referential memories, from which we'll never escape except through death, physical death. And we don't escape anyway. We didn't exist to escape in the first place. But I've sat with many dying people, and I watch a beautiful universe of memories spinning apart, coming, just dissolving. They never were, and they'll never be back again. They were unique and wonderful. I sat with veterans from World War II and their war stories and their stories that they never told their wives, things that they wanted to get off their shoulders, heroism, young men, 18 years old, going on a beach, bombs, people around them getting shot, screaming, blood in the water. Stories, beautiful, lovely, terrible human stories. I look out into a world now of stories. Everywhere I go, I see people, and I'm astounded at how beautiful. Sometimes I tell people how beautiful they are.
Me too.
Yes, sketch comes out.
Quite
Say,
often, actually.
ah, ah. I think as a beautiful woman, you have to be careful, a little careful. Some men can misunderstand that. As an old man,
They do, but here's apparently no learning out of this. It still happens, yeah.
ah, ah, ah. Yeah, I say it to it just comes out. I think I told this story of a young black man who had long, beautiful hair, in braids or whatever that name is. I don't know. But it swayed when he walked. And he walked by me and he was scowling. And I said, "Your hair is beautiful." He said, "What?" I said, "Your hair, it's beautiful." He said, "Oh, thanks, man."
Michael, I have this tear too, actually. I noticed my mom did it. And I noticed this. And then simply here it plays out the same. But not because I'm copying her or learned this. It's just like intuitively popping out directly, seeing a woman with beautiful hair. It's just like,
Oh,
wow. And of course, I have the sense not because it's very direct to say you have such a beautiful hair, you know? And that's, but it happens and it's very, actually, no one is kind of shocked by this.
yeah.
It's well received in a way.
You see them melt right in front of your face. Uh, whatever tension they had, there's a brief moment of a brief glimpse of their own beauty. Um,
Mm,
if
yeah.
sometimes an elderly lady will have her hair just coiffed perfectly, that
Mm,
blue-gray hair. And I'll
mm.
say, "Your hair is so beautiful." She'll say, "Oh, thank you." Um,
I'm quite in love with people.
I am.
Yeah, they're in a way every character in its unicity is so beautiful or so terrible, which is also beautiful in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Sander,
Yes.
what would you say about this?
I think it's a glimpse of our own beauty. I think we are mirrors for each other. We see beauty in others. It's really a mirror. And we offer a clear mirror to other people when you do that. You give them a chance, a tiny glimpse of how beautiful they are. It's never been rebuffed on I've never, ever had anybody say, what the? And I'll say it to anybody if it just pops up. I don't
Do you
know.
also say it to yourself sometimes when you look in the mirror?
I do not. I see a body. I see an old man who is at the nearing the end of his life, and that's okay with me. I would not want to live forever. That would be the worst form of hell imaginable. But
Michael, what did you say? End of your life. So you feel
oh
that this
yeah,
is close to the
uh,
end of your life.
I
So there is
am.
Michael and his life. Does it feel
Michael in
like
his
this?
life, he can hear the curtains closing. I have a lot of conditions. I have 10 doctors now.
Sweetheart.
All special. Yeah, I have very bad lung problems. I have kidney issues, my heart, AFib, and oh, what else? I don't know.
And a
Um,
smile.
yeah, and a smile. Um, yeah, I'm ready to die. But I love life. I love every moment. Every moment is precious to me. I was excited about seeing both of you this morning. A child going to the fire station or whatever thrills him. Um, I live a life of falling from one adventure to the next, and my wife says we're going to pick up groceries, and I get excited. I think, oh gosh, who am I going to see? Um, puppy happiness. When your dog
Yeah.
sees you, it goes,
Yeah.
yeah, like that.
Yeah. I here is also like this. I'm simply happy for no reason.
Yeah.
Spontaneously. Okay, all emotions can pop up here very full on.
Mm.
But in a way, I'm very happy.
There's like a constant dopamine drip um, in life, just the joy and awe of simply being, constantly amazed that anything exists at all. No longer trying to figure anything out. No whys. I don't ask why.
Yeah, beautiful, Michael. Maybe exactly this year. It's because here is no longer the need to figure anything out concerning life.
Yeah.
Because I can remember this was a big issue here. It was about life, getting it. There is something missing. There
Mm,
is something to get, something is, and this simply dropped. And this causes maybe simply a natural happiness and of course or a natural sadness, but there is nothing behind the sadness, there's only the sadness or whatever
mm,
appears, but this is
mm,
this underlying peace like you started maybe, but I wouldn't call it peace. It's just
mm,
I don't know what it is, but there is simply, as you said, no no need to know more. Of course, knowing happens or new ideas, impulses pop up naturally. But it's yeah, cool. Yeah.
mm.
Xander, what about you concerning this?
Concerning what?
This happiness?
Well, happiness is just happiness, you know. Being happy is just being happy. Being sad is being sad. Wandering is wandering. It all just falls like rain and blows like the wind. You know, being happy or wandering is just what's happening. You know, wondering how to make my favorite dinner, wondering how to take care of the dogs in a better way or whatever, you know. I mean, wandering is just wandering. There's no way of stopping wandering. There's already no you as a separate entity doing the wandering. Wandering is just wandering on its own, just full on what's happening. And you know, happiness and sadness. So here, so to say, happiness, there's no longing for one and not wanting the other, so to say.
Yeah,
Mm.
beautiful.
Like,
Beautiful.
so when there's happiness, there's happiness. When there's sadness. And well, yeah, you know, even wanting to be happy instead of sad may just simply, you know, trying to become more happy is as innocently as feeling happy or being happy.
Yeah.
Do you sense underneath it all the peace that passes understanding? Does it float on a sublime, what I call it, sublime melancholia?
Sense that, or how do you mean? How do you mean? There's a sense.
The peace that passes understanding, a sublime melancholia in reference to the human condition. It's so hard to be a human. It's a struggle, especially with our mental struggles. We have physical struggles of survival and health and losing loved one, all of that's human stuff. But we have also this pseudo reality to deal with, that dealing with emotions, what we call emotions, with depression, what we call depression. The human condition is very difficult. I think it's the hardest job on earth.
And at the same time, sorry, at the same time, it's utterly natural and simple.
Truly.
The dealing with so-called life is already just this. There's no one who has to deal with life. Dealing with life or not dealing with life is just happening, you know, even calling it or classifying it hard or easy, saying it's hard to deal with life or it's easy to deal with life is already just this. It's already just.
Of course, but very few people get to the place where you are, and then it is
It's
very
quite
few.
hard actually to come to a place where someone is when there is no one in a certain place, so to say.
Truth, yes.
It's very hard, you know, talking, you know, when there's a talk going on with Michael and Sander, and then it, you know, there seems to be, or there may seem to arise an idea that those so-called characters doing a talk have reached a certain thing. At the same time, you know, there's no one who reached anything, so to say.
It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Right, Michael?
I see very few people like Rosa and you. I talk to people here on the internet that I can almost feel I don't know what it is, a sublime emptiness or peace or there's no word for it really. I don't know. You can feel it when someone has it. It's palpable. You can believable.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't question that you and Rosa have this, whatever it is. There's no question in my mind. You've come home, for lack of a better word. And I think home is inside of who we are. We return like a prodigal son and daughter to this, whatever it is, the sublime joy of simply being. Um, I had a pet otter once, many years ago. I got him as a baby. Well, I don't know if it was a him. You can't tell with otters really. But he was the most amazing animal. I never gave him a name because he was beyond naming. I just loved him. And he loved me. He'd look at my face and pat me all over and make a sing-song otter sound and look into my eyes. He'd look and look into my eyes. Oh my God, I loved him. I'm getting chills now thinking about him. He would hold me. He would try to get his little arms around me and snuggle in my neck and make little soft sounds. And one time we had a series of steps that went up and then up again. And he was up at the top, and I was saying, he was chirping. They chirp like a bird. And I chirp. I said, "What do you want? You want to jump?" I put my hands out, and he jumped. And I caught him, and he looked around, and he looked up, and he went right up the stairs. And he would do this. Sometimes he'd go on his back and try to go over. One time he closed his eyes, and I caught him. I could tell you 100 stories like that about this otter. I loved him so much. And
Sweet.
oh, it was sweet. We had a pet porcupine when we were growing up in Wyoming. The sweetest little animal you can imagine. She loved us. We never got a quill from her. Um, we'd ride on horseback with her, and she'd just lay over our arms and go like this. If we got too far ahead of her in the forest, they can't walk too fast. She would sit and cry because they don't see very well either, and little tears would roll down her cheeks and make porcupine sounds. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then
Oh
we go,
my God, you're such a sweetheart. I love your
"Oh,
story.
but that is all around us all the time. That moment of, oh God, it's just I think of Sandra and his dogs. And do you have a favorite dog, Sandra? One that you have now or one that has died? No.
No, you know, I cannot say there's a favorite dog. I mean,
Ah.
you know, there were some dogs, you know, the one who leads the team,
Hmm?
because the one in the front, the two in the front, they have to listen when I say right or left, you know, they have to take the whole, you know, they have to listen because they are the steering wheel, so to say. If I say go to the right, if they don't go to the right, then you end up in the wrong place. So those have to be dogs, you know, and so, and those dogs are hard to find, the one who leads the team. Uh,
Ah.
and I had a dog, or we had a dog, and he was, you know, even when there was, you go on a track, and then even when there was no track, and I said to him, go to the right, you know, it doesn't matter. He jumped directly to the right, and he took all the dogs with him. And
Ah.
most of the dogs, you can learn them to go to the right, but when there's a crossing, when there's a, you know, when there's a place where they can see that they can go to the right or to the left, it's quite easy for them to learn. But when there's no place to go to the right, you know, it's just forest. So when I said to the dog, go to the right, he did it. So there seems to be dogs who have certain types of qualities, so to say, which were special in a way. But
Special.
I don't have you know, I love them equally,
Oh
all
my.
of them, you know, it's yeah,
Oh, that's so
Yes.
beautiful.
there's not a special dog. But yeah, some dogs you remember, you know, it's the same, and this is also quite natural, right? It's also with people in your lives. Some, you know, you tend to
Yeah.
remember longer. There seems to be a connection, you know, a liking to be with that person more than
Mm.
so-called other persons. And it's all just innocently, you know, preferences and likes, you know, they fall equally as the rain, you know, liking, having an attraction to, yeah, attraction to your wife instead of another, so to say, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
instantly this already. Yeah.
Sure.
And you can call your wife special. compared to you know, compared to other women maybe in your life, well, that's it too. It's just all this. But
truly.
yeah, there's just a love for dogs and for human beings, and yeah, that's
I think that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think that circles up
no, it's
and
okay.
back into ourselves, that love is self-love. I watched Golden Retriever and a blind man. She was a blind man's dog, and it was snowing really hard, and there was about 2.5, 3 feet of snow on the ground. And the cars, I lived in a ski resort, and the cars were zooming by. So the golden retriever would normally go down the street to take this man, but the cars were too busy. So this golden retriever looked at the street and looked at the snowbank, which was 2 or 3 feet high. And there was a large field of snow that would have had to be gone across. So I was watching this dog. So the dog looked at the cars, looked at the snowbank, finally decided to take this man up over the bank through this 3 foot of snow, and they were plowing. They were plowing through this snow, and finally, after maybe 50, 80 yards, got to a place where they could get out of that. But the dog made that choice. Or I don't know if I don't believe in choice, but the dog was smart enough to know that it was dangerous this way and to go through the huge snowbank and go through all that snow. It was so beautiful. I thought, oh my God. And that they become part of who I am. And you two have both become part of who I am. You have woven into my world, into this tapestry of I amness.
No separation, not two already.
Well, separate threads in a beautiful tapestry. We weave ourselves into each other's lives in this, whatever it is. Like when I see your name, I get a small adrenaline rush. The memories of you come back, the pictures of Sander going through the forest, Rose's laughter, boom, all of that. I've created a persona, this brain or whatever you want to call it, has created a persona. That's all you can ever be to me, is what I, the memories that I have of you. And I find that so exquisitely beautiful. Smart. My mind is full of sparkling gems. Um,
Wait a sec, sweetheart. Xander, how do you see Michael?
How do I see Michael?
Yeah, now after he is saying to us, like, created a persona, all those memories created a persona. Now my question to Xander, how do you see Michael and Rosa maybe?
Well, I see bodies, lips moving, gray hair. One is called a man, the other is called a woman, and there's another man in the other corner of the video there. And that's supposed to be me. I mean, yeah, how do I see you? Well, like normal, you know, seeing people, you know, you can say seeing bodies, seeing people, seeing pieces of earth, you know, whatever name it's given, so to say.
Sure.
You know, it's you know, it's not about seeing it in a certain way or not in a certain way. You know, the seeing and the calling it a man or a woman is, you know, is
Happens
just,
naturally.
yeah, you know, this is naturally, you know, seeing a body and calling it
Due
Michael,
due to
you know.
conditionings, this happens here naturally. Another from another culture, maybe this thing would be different. But it's very naturally what's popping up, and there is.
So the labeling, so to say, naming and labeling and categorizing, and you know, that is a man, that is a woman, I'm here, they are there. All that is just happening on its own, so to say,
Yeah.
as is the choices. You were saying, well, I don't believe in choice. So, I mean, tea or coffee. So I would say there's not a separated choice maker. So there is a choice, you know, the choice for coffee or tea, but there is no one, you know, there's not a separated something behind the choice, making the choice for tea or coffee. It's just tea or coffee, liking, not liking, words. You know, the words coming out, and then there's no one stopping the words. The words stop. There's no one doing the silence. The silence is there. Words come again. So it's not, you know, thinking that there is a choice. Let's say thinking or believing that there is a choice is already not choosable. So thinking there's freedom of choice or believing there's freedom of choice is already not choosable. It's just what's happening. Believing that there is free will or the absence of that belief is this, and this may change. So thinking there's a you able to have a free choice or to claim free choice is already not choosable. It's already just simply this.
I
Michael?
see I see what we think of as free will or choice as reactions that are part of the programming. An intricate, multi-dimensional programming that creates the illusion of self. When a dog, if you put two types of food in front of a dog, they may look at one and look at another, and then it appears like they choose one. But I see what's really happening in the brain is the brain's programmed preferences for whatever reason. Um, the dog doesn't actually choose. It just reacts. And everything is reactions within reactions. Um,
Yeah, sorry, yes, totally. But the reactions, you know, where there seems to be placed the brain doing the reaction, so to say, as a central thing which is doing the reaction, right? So these reactions are equally innocent. So there's
mhm.
not something separate behind the reactions, so to
No,
say.
no, there's just reactions.
Yes.
When I look out at the world, it's all referenced off of this swirling group of memories that I think of as me or is thought of as me. Um, and I see what? I see women, and my male programming knows that they're women immediately. And I know I see men, and I know that they are men. That is that's primal. That's beautiful. Um, oh, what am I trying to say? The naturalness. The word Nisargadatta means natural, the natural one. I have grown over the years to embrace everything that happens within my bubble, all of my desires, all of my urges, all of my. I'm an addictive personality. I
Me
was an
too.
alcoholic. Anything that makes me feel good, I tend to want more. I was an alcoholic for many years. And then I got into I was carving ducks competitively, carving decoys. And I was obsessive about that. I had a whole collection of wild ducks. I got into chickens, and I got well, oh God, I had some chickens. I had 30 or 40 kinds of chickens. I could go on and on about one of my most recent since here has been succulents. I spent
What? Once again?
succulents and cactus. I probably spent $20,000 on my succulents and cactus. And then I don't do that anymore. And then I got into bread making. I bought all the stuff for bread making. a special
What a
oven.
beauty, Michael. What a beauty. I can,
Like,
when I now look
yeah,
back here to those addictive stories, this is so beautiful, you know?
yeah.
And the moment I realized how beautiful this is, you know, yeah, it's what it is, you know? What a beauty.
It is.
And
My
it may
wife is.
stop,
What's
right,
that?
Michael? Well, you know, it's funny when you say there was this, and then I went into this, and then I went into this, you know, and so at a certain point, there's just, you know, and people, it's the same with, you can say it's the same with searching, you know, they're searching until there isn't.
Oh, that's
But there
true.
is no seeker as a separated seeker. So this so-called seeking or this so-called carving of ducks may just overnight collapse, but it don't collapse for anybody. You know, it may just, you know, and then something, you know, cactuses, right? Full on
Yeah,
cactus, you know, full
yeah,
on loving cactus until it doesn't, you know,
yeah,
it
yeah,
the cactusing is just collapsing for no one. There's no one into cactus. There's just full on love for cactus as there was full on love for dogs, you know, and it may change.
Yeah,
yeah.
plays beautifully out by itself. And there is
What a
simply,
joy.
yeah, what a joy. There is simply, yeah, very naturally what's happening, full on aliveness, and no one in it in a way. And the idea that there is someone is this too.
Oh, I'm looking at the picture behind you, and the child who drew that was exploring.
It was Rosa. Be careful now, Michael, what you're saying. The child who drew. I love the assumption, you know, it's so innocently the assumption that, you know, this is how it goes. The assumption that a child made it. It's
Yeah,
just, you know, it's just falling like rain, you know, and it was actually
right.
a full-grown person, so to say, maybe, I don't know. But, you
The
know, it's,
child, yeah, the child mind that made that. The biggest thing in there is a heart. Um, I think that's what we go through life. It's the biggest thing is the heart. As our heart begins to open, we open to ourselves also. All the things that we thought we did wrong, and all the people that we've hurt, and all everything, all the what we thought were mistakes. Um, it's all forgiven. We forgive ourselves, and the world is forgiven. Um, I see innocence everywhere. I watched a show on TV
yeah.
where in jail where criminals, hard criminals, murderers, um, they were in the cells 23 hours a day and out for 1 hour a day. That's the way they spent their life. And the sheriff in charge let them have open cells to see what they would do. Go ahead, Sandra.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned it because um, my wife and we are just watching. We have started to watch that. There's a program now. We saw the first episode.
Yes.
There was a cell, and then there was this a big guy. He was in charge. A big imposter,
Yeah.
a big guy. He came, and
Yeah.
then he was telling, you know, we're going to do it differently from then, and then we're going to open the cells, and everybody, you know, the whole chicken run get excited, you know, oh shit, how it's going to go, you know, when we left out of our cells, and you know, and people were talking with each other. So we has come as far as the first episode.
Or
So the next episode they will open. So I wonder if it's the same
it is.
documentary. So I'm very curious to see what's
Oh,
going to
I
happen.
won't tell you what happens. Um, but I fell in love with the sheriff, the one, the warden who decides on this experiment. I just fell in love with him. And I fell in love with the people there. I fell in love with their stories. I fell in love with when I was drinking 2 or 3 times, I almost killed people. So close. And I would have gone to jail for my lifetime. It happens when you drink heavily. And so a lot of these people, probably all of them, got into criminality because of circumstances beyond their control. And this forgiveness includes everything and everybody. As once I see as the world as choiceless, as just reactions within reactions, there's no guilt. We still have to put people in jail because they're dangerous to other people. But they're still people. I think Scandinavia has some wonderful ideas about criminals and how to treat them. I think Germany has some better ideas than we have. But this forgiveness washes everything clean and innocent. And
Yeah,
yeah, you will fall in love with those people, Sandra. I know you will. The people running the prison and the people in prison and the guards. Everybody.
well, I worked with drug addicts for many years when in the Netherlands. Yeah, you know, no one is guilty of hate or love.
No.
There's just hate, love, you know, there's no one guilty of anything. There's
Hmm.
no one to be found guilty or not guilty.
Mm.
There's no one to be found. You know, hating someone is as innocently as loving someone.
Mm. Yeah, I think hate is just
It's
fear.
Yeah,
sorry, Michael.
hate, anger, it's just fear, of course.
It's
Very
fear.
natural. And very
Yeah,
natural. The organism is simply, this is nature, full on. It's
yeah,
no difference with a flower or a tree or a bird. It's just playing out like this.
Yeah, a lion eating a deer, you know. I mean, it's seen as you know, that's we have a great compassion largely because well, that's just you know, that's the food, so to say.
yeah, yeah. Without lions, there'd be too many deer, too many antelope. Without predators, um, their prey wouldn't exist at all. It's this evolutionary thing that allows life to participate. Um, Life is so wonderful. I have a book on trees that talks about how trees talk to each other and help each other, and not in human terms, but they do. A redwood tree that's cut off, the other trees will continue to feed the stump because it can't feed itself. Little things like that we're just starting to see. So you can imagine what they're going to discover in the future. I watch people who will go in and a dog that has been terribly mistreated, terribly. They're shivering when somebody comes into their, you're just shaking and they hover in the corner. And I watch people who specialize in this. There's one man I just love. He just goes in and sits in the cage and turns his back to the dog, and the dog is just quivering. And after a day or two or three, he'll put a piece of food out and then just pull his hand back. And the dog is hungry, so he'll come up and take the food. And it takes him weeks. And pretty soon this dog will get to where he touches him, and then he'll, touch his cheek just gently. And then at the end, the dog will lay his head on the man's lap. And he strokes the dog, and pretty soon the dog wants to get closer. And a dog always seems to be healed in love. Um, I've seen so much of that happen that it's made me love dogs all that much more. How how forgiving they are, how wow,
Mhm.
how loving all animals are. One woman had a pet squirrel, and you see this little pet squirrel has her finger, and the squirrel's pulling her across the lawn, just like this, and so she's saying, "What do you want? What do you want, honey?" And so the squirrel is pulling her over to a tree, and the lady picks the squirrel up and sets the squirrel in the tree, and it goes up, and the lady gets a ladder, and the squirrel has a nest, and the squirrel wants her to see her babies. So she gets in this nest and pulls the baby up, and the mother pets the baby and talks softly to the squirrel. And it's just so beautiful. There's so much of that on the internet now, of love between animals and human beings. One man had a baby nutria, that big South American rodent, as a baby. And whenever, as an adult, whenever this nutria saw the man, he would jump up and down and make the funny little sounds and just run up to him. And the man took him to work every day with him. And it was just so
Beautiful, Michael. You're so
beautiful.
sweet. The story is
Oh,
so beautiful that you're watching such so beautiful things. And Michael,
oh,
what would you you also have a YouTube channel, right? And
I do have a YouTube thing. I don't use it anymore. I prefer going to for
okay,
other people. I'm going to Walters tomorrow. He's
okay.
interviewing Judy Cohen, who I've known for maybe 10 years, and I love her. So I'm going to go to that tomorrow.
Okay, you
And
you prefer because I thought you were also performing with a couple of people on your channel. But Michael, what would you like? Are you sharing something? Is there something coming out from Michael saying this to his beloved one, like the closest one, the wife, the children? Is there kind of a message coming out?
oh, I try to have no message. That's why I love listening to both of you. Um, I think a message very slips easily into a suggestion or a path.
Well,
Uh,
nothing wrong with this. Maybe there's something which, for example, here I love to share maybe something, a suggestion to my son. And this is
ah,
very, it comes very straight, very direct. Um,
ah,
this was kind of, or maybe also with friends, and there is maybe here is definitely something which is always coming out for no
ah.
reason. It's not, I cannot control this, as we said. It's just
Really?
naturally popping out. And I wondered if there is such a
Oh,
thing with Michael happening.
how
Maybe you
old
can
is
put
your
it into
how old
words.
are your sons? You have two or
13, one. He's 13.
30?
13. 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I did with my son, and he is the most wonderful person you can imagine. Everyone falls in love with him. When he was little, I'd hold his face in my hand and say, I love you. I will always love you. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you rob banks. I don't care. Whatever you do, I will be here for you. I
Same
will
here,
all
Michael. Same here.
I will always love you.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do that will take that away.
Yeah.
I Oh, you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and I will come and pick you up, no questions asked. Um, you can tell me anything and I will I will love you. I will always. And then when he was little, I would do this. And then a teenager later on, I'd say, come here, I have something to tell you. He said, oh, Dad, I know. I say, no, I have to tell you. And I'd hold his hand in my face and say, I love you. I will always love you. I will always be here for you. You can count on me. And that, in addition to that motherly love, there's nothing more to do. Um, I watch
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
I watch.
this was also, sorry for interrupting. I never mean to interrupt you, sweetheart. This just
Oh, you
happened.
love. You
Uh,
love. No, I.
it was more like a more not special to the child, or but I mentioned the close one, the beloved, but also maybe something which is playing out with maybe with everybody, when no matter who you meet, like you said, you make compliments or you just see the beauty in the other.
Oh, I think that anything pre-planned enters the arena of not right or something. It's spontaneous. What Sander talks about, the spontaneous uprising of love. It bubbles up. Um, as soon I got excited when I was opening the page, it started to bubble up because I was going to see both of you. Um, this spontaneous thing we can trust, and pretty soon we get into a slipstream, and it's like riding a dog sled through the icy cold, a slipstream, and we just go wherever life takes us. I don't think we can plan or think of anything we'd like to say to people. Um, love just comes up like crocus in the springtime through the snow. Um,
Yeah, it's simply spontaneously happening in all
yeah,
those
Yeah,
interactions. Yeah, it's just popping up very spontaneously, innocent, naturally. Yeah,
truly,
it's
truly.
yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Anything planned is what? It's not it's not spontaneous. We can trust ourselves. We can ever since Las Vegas, that night in Las Vegas, I've never been rebuffed for anything, and I've opened my heart to a lot of people. Um, hmm, I've never had anything but love returned. I used to, and I still do, we cast a little heart and hand token in pewter, and it's a little hand holding a heart, and it's a beautiful little token. And when I fall in love with people, I'll reach out and hold their hand until they look at me, and then they'll look at it and they'll see a heart and hand. They'll think, oh, and sometimes they cry. And we've given thousands of them over the last 20 years, and the stories I've heard. Um, oh my God. I gave one to a detective once in our store. We had retail stores, and I would talk to the men, and because they don't like to shop. So I'd talk to them and fall in love. And I said, what do you do for a living? He said, I was a detective in Los Angeles. I said, oh my God. I said, thank you for your service. I said, you could write a book, couldn't you? He said, oh yes. So he was very offish at first, and then I gave him a heart and hand. And he looked at it, and he turned around and left, and just walked out the door. And I thought, well, that's funny. I didn't think too much about it. And his wife came in about 20 minutes later. She said, poked her head through the front door, and she said, can I talk to you? I said, of course you can. She said, you gave my husband something, didn't you? I said, I did. She said, he went out to the car and started to cry. She said, I've never seen him cry. Um, he told her that no one had ever given him anything. And I fell in love with her, and I fell in love with him. And they became part of me. I can see them now. Um, stories like that, hundreds of them over the years. And it's just a little heart and hand token, just a little heart and hand. But people would come into the store holding their hand like this, and then they'd open it up and show me. And I'd say, oh, and then they'd have a story for me. That's we're giving people ourselves when we do that. We're
Michael, beautiful. One thing popped up here when you were talking about the heart, opening of the heart. This reminded me on when I was into the spiritual stuff. Of course, I simply love the music channel. Was called Everything is Consciousness, Love, Unconditional Love, and there was this saying of like the mind is dropping into the heart. There is a heart opening. And now I can very clearly see that this is just a beautiful story, and that the mind is as beautiful as the heart, and that everything is it already, whatever this means. But yeah, what about this, sweetheart, with the opening of the heart and the mind and the brain and the thoughts?
Oh, it is like it's like a lotus opening up to the world, basking in the sunlight, basking in everything, basking in life itself. And it won't last that long. One day, hopefully, your hair will be white, your beard will be white, hopefully. And you will look back on your life and think, oh, it was so good.
Or not?
When I had
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, yeah. I love the way it's suggested that you look back on your life and think it's all good. But you know, anything may happen, right? You know, then maybe looking back and maybe it was not
What the
so good.
fuck? What a shit
Or
show.
you know, I mean, there's just no way to you know. It's the same with you know when the so-called curtains are closing. Maybe there's just a bunch of fear. You know, who knows? Maybe there's fear. Maybe there will be fear. You know,
I've
there's
never
just
seen
no
fear.
way of knowing. You know,
Yeah.
there's no way to know what is going to happen. You know, maybe yes, looking back and saying, well, it was beautiful, it was long, it was short, it was terrible, you know, anything may happen, so to say. And yes, it you know, there's a wish for everybody, so to say. You know, even when there's no separated me or you, wishing everyone a good life is this too. You know, it's just what's happening. Wishing that everybody has a beautiful life, everyone turn great and have
Oh,
lots
no, I
of
don't.
love in their life is this, even when there's no separation.
Yeah, I don't wish anything
It's
anymore. I've never seen fear in a dying person. I'm sure it happens, but I've never seen it. I've seen the gradual dissolving and deep breathing and death rattles. And I've seen great peace. Quite often there's a moment of lucidity where they'll open their eyes and look around with baby eyes. My mother-in-law did that. We thought she was dead, and all the tubes and wires in the hospital, and all of a sudden she opened her eyes after an hour there's a period where breathing stops and you think, oh, they died, and then breathe again. And there's a,
yes,
yeah. And after
yes.
an hour or two, she opened her eyes and looked around the room and she said, beautiful, beautiful. And she died shortly after that. I think that moment is offered to all of us all the time. I'm looking at your faces and thinking, beautiful, beautiful, young, vibrant, healthy people, pulsating with life, pulsating with maleness and femaleness. Beautiful.
One word which seems to be used very often in such talks is beauty. What a beauty.
What a
Um,
beauty.
yeah, this is really like yeah, or okay, I love the simplicity. I simply say it is what it is. And this includes the beauty, of course, and the shit, but it's beautiful anyways.
Yeah, I haven't even let that go. Even This Is It has gone from my world. Nothing fits anymore. Everything is in the slipstream.
But
No,
there is Michael's world, right? There is Michael's universe.
it's apparent. It's just apparent. It doesn't exist, as we all know, as we three know. Michael's world is not real. It's just a group of memories. But even that has slipped away. I talk about
Oh
it
yeah,
as if
totally. Because yes,
I'm,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
in the end, well, yeah, I mean, in the end, you know, saying it's apparent or it's real or it's a dream or it's imaginary, it doesn't matter. You know, you hit your finger with a hammer and you can say it's imaginary or it's apparent. They're still screaming for pain. You know, it's still just this.
This thumb is larger than this thumb because I've hit it so hard with a hammer several times.
Yeah,
Full
you know,
swing.
this whatever you know appears to happen or is happening or not or is believed to happen doesn't care if it's real or unreal.
Bring it on. It's a bring it on world.
Yes.
Uh, you've thrown
Beautiful.
everything. Yeah. I think
Michael, sweetheart, would you please let's kind of make here a beautiful end, even though there is no beginning and no end. But Michael, would love you to say some, yeah, just whatever is coming out from Michael.
oh my.
You
If I
started with the end. You started, sorry Michael, but you started the curtain with closing, so maybe you can say something for the beginning instead of the end.
Well, the curtain is always closing for all of us, really. Each moment um, drifts away until the next. It's always closing and opening. Um, there is a permanent closure. We call that death. And when I'm gone, I'm gone. I won't be coming back. Um, I won't continue to exist in each other's memory because we all know that memory is not a real thing. If we have a name for memory, then we think it's an actual thing, which it isn't. We have a name for electricity, but it's not an actual thing. That's just the name given to a phenomenon that we observe. And so is memory. If I had a message, it would be don't listen to anyone. Because nobody knows what's going on. There's no authorities. I love that. No one
Yes.
knows more than
Yeah,
you.
beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, beautiful, sweetheart.
Yeah.
But here in a way, now imagining that Michael is not anymore there, it's the same. You know, it's just this an idea
Yeah.
popping up of Michael is, you know, is it's just full on, you know. There is
Yeah.
no story, there is just this idea full on Michael. And yeah.
They're oh my, what is this? We don't know. We can never know because we are it. Um, we can never get a glimpse of what's happening through us because we don't exist. Yeah, oh my God, it's a hell of a problem. It doesn't even.
This is a full-on glimpse, Michael. A non-stop glimpse.
Hmm. I think it's the glimpse into the beauty of who each of us is. And we only see that through each other. We are mirrors for each other through a common language. I couldn't speak to you in German. We wouldn't have this bond.
Das macht nichts. Aber ich kann mit dir auf Deutsch sprechen und das ist das Gleiche.
So beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful when you say that, but I have no idea what you mean.
Doesn't matter, it's the same. It's just blah blah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. But language, a common language, is where only place we can meet is in words. That is enough for me. It's more than enough. It's overflowing. It's emptiness overflowing. You enrich me. You let me get a glimpse of how beautiful it is to be a human. I love the fact you have a 13-year-old. I love the fact that Sander has those beautiful dogs and how much they love him, how much they wiggle when they see him enter the yard. Have you seen the movies with polar bears playing with sled dogs?
Yeah, and but the inside is that some of the dogs also get killed as easily, although it seems like playing. It's
No.
always
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. They do get killed.
Wild nature.
yeah, you know, the dogs are on chains. The dogs, you know, they most of the time you don't see it, but they are held on chains, so the dog cannot go anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we seen tigers with deers, you know, which they are
Yeah.
cuddling or whatever, or which are very close.
Yeah.
You know, anything can happen even in the so-called animal world. You know,
Yes.
a
Yes. It's a
dog having small chickens as puppies.
it's
Yeah,
a harsh world. In the world of dinosaurs, there was no love. Humans, I believe, are the place where love exists. Just us. Just us. We
it's
see
Just
it's
love
it's
and beauty.
you see cats with birds. Sorry, you see cats with birds, and here there's it's funny, we have a lot of black and white birds when we feed the dogs, you know, when me and my wife are feeding the dogs, we put the dog bowls with food on a large table, and then we bring them from the table to the dogs, and then the birds are all in a big tree which we have in the yard where the dogs are playing, and the moment we take the dog bowls, the dogs go on the table, take the dog food, and they know when they come in in the places where the dogs are eating, they know which dog will allow them to eat. But
Amazing.
and then every year the birds get new ones, you know, but they have not learned yet which dog they can trust, so to say, which one will allow them. And then birds will die every year. One or two
Yeah.
get killed because
Yeah.
they go in the wrong.
As
It's
the years go by, the birds will get smarter and smarter. The man who took foxes and took the tamest ones and crossbred those wound up with a tame fox in about 20 generations or 40 generations. Um, they were tame. They had longer ears. They were kind of caught in their puppy stage, is what they think domesticated dogs are. They're kind of caught in the puppy world. And that's why they're tame. But you know, they all started out as wolves. And look what dogs can become now, from Chihuahuas to Great Danes. My Lord.
Beautiful. Michael is so in love with everything,
I do.
with the animals. Beautiful, Michael, sweetheart. I want to
I love
thank you
humans so
so
much.
much. I want to thank you so much for this beautiful talk here, and I appreciate it very much. I love I love your beautiful stories and the sharing. This is straight from the heart. So lovely. Mm, yeah, what to say? Sanderlinchen, also with you, always a joy. Do you wanna, Xander, do you wanna kind of say something?
Well, I was reading a comment today on the page of Miranda Warren on the non-duality dream life. And it was stated that it's all love letters.
Love letters.
Knowing or not knowing, it's all love letters.
Yeah, beautiful.
We're trying to talk Miranda into having a meeting, but I don't think it's going to work.
A talk
No
with
one-
Miranda?
Yeah, no one's ever had a talk with Miranda.
Okay, if she listens to this, sweetheart Miranda, come on, join the show. We would love this.
Well,
Vicky said that if she came to a meeting, Vicky said she'd wear a pink dress and cowboy boots. And I said, if she comes to a meeting, I'll wear a pink dress and cowboy boots.
Okay.
Yeah. What the heck?
I saw a comment that she was willing to go to a full-on craziness meeting. So
Yeah. Let's hope for
Okay.
that.
yeah,
Good.
but yeah, you know, I mean, you know, not wanting to go in Zoom meetings, it's all just
What is? Yeah.
what is, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
I told her
beautiful.
one time I'm getting older and I might die at any moment. And it didn't work either. So we'll see what it's fun
Michael
to
tried everything.
try everything. Yeah. I only got so many
Beautiful.
tricks.
Sweetheart, don't stop trying. Just continue. Just continue. Okay, no choice in this. No
Yeah.
one's continuing this, but maybe this
Yeah, I
will
know.
continue. And sweetheart, here a big hug, a
hug.
very big hug. A lot of energy and whatever. And
I get
yeah.
a hug from Sander. Come on, Sander.
Ah,
Give it up.
Okay, boys. So
Beauty.
thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful, Michael. I wish you a beautiful afternoon. And we
Yes.
simply stay in touch, Zanderlientje. Good night.
have a
You go
beautiful afternoon, Michael. Thanks for joining the
Yeah.
show.
you cuddle up and go to sleep.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
do
it's sleeping
so.
time actually here.
Okay. I love you. Bye bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.